your name spelled correctly. I think, yeah, we might want to check it from a past thing. There could be like a double N or something like that.
I think it's single, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
We may find ourselves begging for forgiveness.
We're mixing some topics a little bit in the correspondence. I think the first bullet should have like a lead in, like, with respect to the proposed solar projects. This is line 14, sorry. It just, it says, the chief indicated the road and gate widths are sufficient for emergency vehicles, but we should say what property.
Sufficient emergency vehicle access on the solar projects
Yeah,
presented, solar project presented.
yeah.
Line 53 should be Dorch Street East, not Dorch Street. It's just a typo.
Street.
Or street, they sneak up on it. Sunday next meeting, it should have said September 25th.
Ah, yes, yes, I mean,
Make a motion to approve the minutes with the suggested typo fixes and addition of on line 15 of solar projects presented.
You made the motion?
I made the motion.
Oh, I'll second it.
Any discussion?
On line 51, it talks about the Conservation Commission being in support of the projects. Is that, I'm digging for their letters. I just want to make sure that's fair.
yeah, I think that's, yeah, I'll find it, right? I'm pretty sure that's what they're.
Yes.
Enthusiastic.
I think he's
Yes.
these more discussing the verbiage, so they're right. Yes, they were in,
I have the letters right here.
at least one was prepared.
I wouldn't say
Here's one
prepared.
side.
Should put the stuff into a binder and stuff.
I've got a binder, I got 6 binders, right? Which one's mine?
Okay.
There's another one in here somewhere.
They're just duplicates.
Oh, they're all,
For each.
they're all.
One
the
for
s-
each.
Yeah, they're all the same but different.
Okay, alright. Okay, alright, great. I'm good.
All right. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstains?
I'll say aye as well.
I'll abstain just because I'm not there.
Nays? So passes. All righty. So, on to our fun project of this solar. Now, do we have,
What you have are the notices of decision just for the water resources that you approved last week.
yeah, those
So
are,
you have to sign those tonight, because today is the fifth day.
yeah, I signed it.
Oh, you did sign them
Yeah.
already, okay, perfect, so that's all these are. What's left,
Do we need to do a motion on those at all or anything, or just
no,
he signed?
because, yeah, once you
Kyle
voted
signed.
last week, then it's just administrative that
I
Kyle
see.
signs them when it, you know, hopefully sooner rather than later. So now you have the other decisions that had been joined together, the conditional use permit for the solar and the site plan review were in draft form as one notice of decision for each project.
Mhm.
So you just have to decide if that's how you wanna keep it, or if you wanna separate those out as well. I think water resources needed to be separate, that made sense. But, cause I tried to put them together and it was a mess, it really wasn't working. So anyway, the other two were together and they seemed to work fine because, you know, there were a lot of overlapping of those two
Yeah.
ordinances. So we have already a draft for Bigelow Hill, because Jack and I worked on that, as that was kind of the biggie, the most complicated one.
Yeah.
So that draft is, and that's gone back and forth between us and Zach and his attorney.
Yeah.
So we think that one's in pretty good shape. The other two would be essentially the same format, it's just that there won't be a road waiver, for Dordt Street West. I think they reworked it so there's no waiver at all, if I'm not mistaken, because they had a waiver for the fence, but they moved everything. And they had a waiver or asked for waiver for the lot coverage, and I think all that went away. I don't have the new plan, so I wasn't positive. And Dordt Street East, also I didn't have the new plan, so I couldn't remember if there were any waivers for that one. So
George
that's,
Street East is the waiver for lot coverage.
oh, okay, so that's the
And
one.
George Street West, I think they're not making 100 feet, I think they're still at 50 or something like that. So
Okay.
they still may need a waiver
So
for
they
that,
still.
even though they moved it out.
Okay,
It's
Yeah,
really,
they got a waiver for the fence off the property line.
so do we have, Abby, do we have the letters where they request the waivers for east and west, so that I can get that into the notice?
The, conditional use,
Yes, yes.
I have the permit applications.
Is that gonna have the waiver request in it?
I think it's in a supplemental, I can't
I
remember
think
which
it's
supplemental.
separate.
Yeah.
I do have one of those
I don't have a
supplementals.
connection here, so I can't go online to try to find his link.
There's this one, I don't know if that's what you're looking for. He sent like
It was the
a few.
third supplemental set, right? Or the third supplemental materials response.
Names? I hope that's the one.
No, this is the water
Separately?
resources,
Okay.
yeah. So
Um,
it doesn't have the waiver request for whatever it is they're asking for.
I don't have,
Did he submit any paper copies, or did he do it all just
he did it
with that
all
link?
online and it takes a little while to print out. I I don't know what it is, but,
Well, if I can get connected, then I can go to that link and just copy the language.
Does
Yeah.
anyone have a flash drive? Because I
Let
think
me-
I have them.
let me grab you the password.
I do have a flash drive with me.
Yeah, I think I got all the same.
Oh.
That was pretty well.
Let me just see which one it is. Oh, I found the one with the elevation, Henry, if you want it.
Thanks. I downloaded it on here last meeting.
Okay.
Fourth supplemental materials.
So the third one,
With the mineral health funds.
yeah, it's not in the third one. Must be the second one. 723, I think. It's not in the eight.
It's not an 828. Yeah.
Northwest. Oh,
No, it's not in the second one. It must be in the first one. 628.
well, I have something.
628. And if you have a flash drive, I can give it to you.
Right here.
That's me. Materials request.
I think that is the one. I'm not sure.
So, not to be stupid, but to be stupid, that line through the O
That's a
is
zero.
is a zero.
No, you're fine. I always get it mixed up.
Thank you.
You're talking about the waiver request, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I found those. 16 pages. Because waiver request one was for road frontage.
In support of waiver, okay. So that's Bigelow Hill. There's two. Okay, which is which?
No, hey, it's tiny. I don't know what I want to do.
So should we do the same thing we did last time and go through the conditional use permit approval for all three for the solar?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the first thing we would do? And then we could do the same for the site plan.
Right.
That's the waivers.
The alternative would be to potentially we could do both conditional use and site plan per property.
Yeah, the only reason I'd go for the separate is because sort of the criteria, you know, for the conditional use.
Oh,
permit,
yes,
so
I
it's
understand.
got all the requirements for it.
Yep.
And you kind of, once that's in our mind, we could
Mm-hmm.
go through all three, and then the site plan requirements are a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. That's logical. Let's stick with that. Just so folks know, Zach was able to join on Zoom.
Good evening, everyone. How you guys doing?
There you go.
Hey, Zach?
Which one is 11-5, Brook Street East, where are you?
So the draft I have for notice of decision has the improvement of this conditional use permit and site plan review kind of together. Were you splitting that? Is what we're saying?
I mean, we had them originally together, it seemed to work fine. It was only the water resources that got wonky when I tried to join that one.
Yeah.
So,
So I have the one for Bigelow Hill. You just want to confirm that this is the most recent one, or? Yeah, so we just want to read through this and discuss out loud.
I think there is, let me see, Bigelow Hill. Oh, well, I have changed the date to today's date, but let me see if I don't think anything else oh, well, it's slightly different, that, the bold italic I had here to address the water resources, that went away because we made that a separate decision.
Okay.
But everything else has stayed the same, I just need to confirm a couple of, like the date when the public hearing was closed, procedural history, but this is the appendix, it doesn't affect the decision. The main thing is, you guys have not yet talked about, one of the conditions had to do with hours of operation, and that's still to be discussed.
To be discussed, so why don't we start there?
Okay.
That hasn't been touched at all. So I feel we've hashed out the rest of it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So are you both referring to the draft notice of decision that we received at our last meeting?
I believe so,
Says-
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I have, yeah.
Okay. So maybe Mike, more for your benefit, this is what's in front of us over here. As Troy Planning Board, letterhead at the top, has the case number and a yellow highlighting. It says notice of decision. And it's written in terms of Bigelow Hill Road, but we're discussing it kind of as it relates to all three properties. And I think what was just said on page 3, item 4, hours of,
Yes.
is that what?
I don't think we
Yes.
really discussed that, so I think if we start there for a discussion, that's the only one that hasn't been hashed out and finalized. We probably should touch everything, but we're gonna have a discussion, figured that you hit the one we haven't done yet. And I can read it out loud. So the conditions of approval, number 4, this is for Bigelow Hill. Unless otherwise approved by the planning board, the hours of operation during construction shall be as follows. We have currently 8 AM through 5 PM, Monday through Friday. We crossed out 9 AM through 4 PM on Saturday, and put to be discussed. And not allowed on Sunday and holidays without prior approval of the planning board. There should be no activity of any trucks or equipment to or from the site prior to or after the prescribed hours, and no truck shall be permitted to stage either on or off the site on the roads prior to the hours of operation. So, looks like we're gonna discuss the Saturday more than anything, because we crossed that out.
Yeah, I don't recall when that was discussed to cross that out, but at any rate, it's been in the last several versions as a to be discussed, so obviously at some point, someone had an issue with the Saturday hours.
I think as well for both properties, but it's a residential street, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure the people living on the street would appreciate a break.
I mean,
But I
I would think, being a, kind of work some of this stuff, construction, I would think weekdays I'd put, probably 7 AM is too early, that's when a lot of people like to start. 7 AM to 5, Monday through Friday, and then just not do a Saturday. agreeing on 5 more hours during the week.
Zach, were you planning to do some Saturday hours for construction?
No, I really defer to you guys. I think we just started with something so that it could be a discussion point, but I really defer to you guys knowing kind of the area and typical hours up there, so that's fine.
I'll just throw in, I think you're right, Henry, that, you know, in a residential spot, maybe a Saturday is a break, and I don't know that they'd wanna work on Saturdays anyway, but in the, you know, the essence of the project, probably time is valuable. I don't see a problem with the early start, other than Bigelow Hill may have a bus schedule. I know we're kind of you know, we're gonna bring,
Oh, we lost you there, Mike. Oh, I think it might be the computer.
Oh, no.
Bigelow's bus
Oh,
schedule.
Mike, could you pause for a second? We lost you for about 10 seconds or 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay.
You were talking, I think you left off where you're pointing out, you know, the bus schedule for Bigelow Hill could be a consideration.
Yeah, that's really the only thing. I think, you know, 7 a.m. or even you know, a 7 to 3:30, or I don't mind even 7 to 5 in my opinion, but the only issue I see, maybe it might be nice to give the kids a break in the morning, but you know, I know there's a mobilization and demobilization, and there won't be a ton of traffic in the in-betweens, but still, I don't, if we just eliminate it, then we don't have to worry about it, but I think the Saturdays, you're right, I will agree with the Saturdays, that maybe we don't need that in there.
Zach, quick question, if you can hear me. Did you guys plan to do construction in the summer, or is it gonna be totally dependent on whenever you're available to start?
As far as I know, we're okay.
I will point out the noise ordinance says no noise. Any disturbances created
Sorry
by.
guys, say that one more time, I just missed you.
Will you guys plan to do construction in the summer, or is it gonna be largely dependent on when you finally get final approvals?
Yeah, we're gonna avoid the winter for any type of, you know, opening of the site and whatnot. So generally we like to start in early summer and then just be finishing up kind of.
So,
It's kind of,
Sorts of kind of, you know, out of our control.
Do you wanna restart the computer, or?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
so I guess while we wait for that, as far as the noise ordinance for Troy goes, no noise before 7 a.m. as disturbances created by operation of construction vehicles, including but not limited to bulldozers, graders, dump trucks, backhoes, earth moving equipment, front end loaders, and log skidders. And it kind of goes on in all districts. So 7 a.m. is, as far as noise ordinance goes, the earliest they can start anyways.
and Carol, are planning boards allowed to be more restrictive than like the select board's noise ordinance?
Yes, in your site plan review, yes, you can.
Okay.
So, and I would think if he's gonna try to work for early summer, to get them done maybe before school starts, if we give them an extra hour a day, it's not much, 5 hours a week, but maybe.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah,
I'm
we
currently
can-
doing, yep.
Okay, cause I heard all of Zach, so I don't know, he had said, yeah, like, he would be starting in summer and finishing, I think he said late winter, but they wouldn't, you know, the beginning part would being altercations to the land they would wanna start at summertime, and then they could work as the weather permitted, as late as they needed, but, yeah, it sounds like a combination of summer, fall, and winter.
So. I think 7 to 5 would be an okay number with no Saturdays. Obviously, it's up for debate with everyone. It sticks to the noise ordinance, so you have a little bit of backing behind the theory behind it,
Yeah.
without going to the 10 PM if Northern allows. I don't think we wanna do that.
Yeah,
I think 5 would give us a cutoff before most people, dinner and. As far as the bus schedule goes, I get that in the morning, but at the same time, unless you're gonna have the afternoon bus around 2 to 3, so it's always gonna be there.
When I'm off the late bus.
Which would be.
I mean, how many kids do we have up on Bigelow Hill anyway? I don't know what the number of kids that is. And we haven't got the list from the school yet, so,
yeah.
for the registered for this school year.
More than on Dordt Street though.
True.
So. I would, if I was gonna make a suggestion, I would put 7 to 5, Monday through Friday, no work allowed on weekends and holidays without prior approval of the planning board.
I'm good with that.
You have to make a motion to change that on this, correct? Okay.
I mean, you don't have to because you're still working through the whole thing. You're gonna vote on this when when you're through discussing it. So you don't really have to vote on this one.
Okay.
Well, I agree with that. If we're not voting on it, I think that's reasonable.
What do you think of that, Mike? You live on Bigelow Hill, correct?
I think we're having computer problems. Got the little clock symbol as a cursor.
So I'll write 7 AM.
I'll tell you when it's back.
Almost had it.
What it's doing.
It might be its time.
Yes. It's time to take it out back
Yeah.
and dig a hole for it.
It's sad, but it's been with us for a very long time. How old is that computer?
I don't know.
Mm.
Here we go. We're breaking for you. Oh, it crashed.
Oh.
An unknown error occurred. I was gonna ask, have we spent all of our American Rescue Plan Act money? Have we now? Do you know, Curtis?
I don't know.
I heard the deadline to not appropriate, but assign where it's gonna be spent is coming up.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know, and the selectmen are not meeting until October 7th.
There's still time.
Monday.
Huh? No.
It's just so you know, it's restarting.
The 7th is Monday. I mean, that's what it is. I thought it was
Yeah.
Monday.
Recording in progress.
Number 7, while we're doing that, I'm just looking at decommissioning plan on file and dated 7/22/24, which results in estimated decommissioning cost of $179,935. Have we verified that's the latest number from the?
I believe it is,
Okay.
yes.
I know we did ask them to change it to match.
Mike, I see you joined. We had our meeting crashed. We had a brief discussion about how old the computer was, and we're back on page 3 of the conditions.
Okay, great, thanks.
So,
Before it crashed, I'd asked, you felt fine with the 7 to 5 with no weekends?
Yeah, I mean, there's already plenty of, I shouldn't say plenty, but there's already work going on, and yeah, they seem to respect it really well, and I'm up, I mean, it's part of our ordinance, I don't, you know what I mean, there's no reason why that's not acceptable, in my opinion, for that, and ideally, it's gonna be, once equipment's in there, I think it's just gonna be the transportation of bodies and not things, I mean, I know there'll be some overlap in there, but I think for the most part,
Hopefully minimal impact.
yeah, and you know, yeah, right, they're not firing up bulldozers and excavators any earlier than that, but yeah, I don't see why that wouldn't be fine.
Okay. Thank you. Card issue. Is there any other section of this someone wanted to specifically discuss they thought of, or?
I have actually on item 8, talks about issuing a building permit and a third-party electrical inspector. Since, the planning board doesn't issue like electrical permits, building permits, should this just say, should be approved by the planning board and the board of selectmen, or?
So I guess my question to prevent kickback, do you think the select board could just handle that? Because that's part of the building permit process? Does the planning board have to have a say?
I mean, I'm not,
So he.
I don't have enough technical knowledge, I would.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
I would lean
I don't think a
towards-
lot of us have a lot of technology, but the
Yeah,
select board does have,
yeah,
when they do the building permit, they have that requirement, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we could, shall be approved by the select board, I think would be a better term there, or a better selection. As in, that's gonna fall in, they're gonna see the building permit and say, well, this is a license. And then they probably have an inspector.
Then we have the building inspector, yeah.
I think the information is good to have there, but I agree, it would be the select board rather than the planning board.
yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. Because the planning board isn't gonna be,
Cause we don't,
once it's under construction, we're not gonna be like visiting it.
no, that'd be in the hands of the select board and the building inspector, because that's, as a building that, if there's inspection, just gonna go through the building permit.
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me, but doesn't our ordinance specify an inspection before hookup, or is that just for residential?
It does, yes, it has to be approved, but we're just questioning, because number 8 says, prior to issuance of building permit, a third-party electrical inspector must be approved by the planning board. We're discussing if it should just be approved by the select board, because that's part of the building
Oh,
permit.
The actual party, who the third party is.
Yeah,
I gotcha, understood, okay.
just so they're not jumping back and forth between boards and, I just,
Yep, I get it, you're right.
so we definitely need that third-party inspection, it's just a question of who do they have to go to get it.
Right, that makes sense. I mean, the ordinance requires that it happen.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
Then it moves to the selectmen.
And we will input our building inspector to work, so.
So I feel it should say, third-party electrical inspection shall be approved by the select board on behalf of the planning board as site plan requirements, or as the ordinance requires. Does that make sense?
I don't know if it has to be on behalf of the planning board, because I thought the building permit stuff was all done by the
It
select
kind of, I
board.
think it just kind of ties in why it's in the conditional use, because it's part of the ordinance that the planning board writes. But we're leaving it to the select board to appropriately pick the person to do it as part of the building permit process. I think it just kind of covers, gets everyone in on it, you mentioned. States why and who. question on number 10, prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy.
Hmm.
Can you get a certificate of occupancy or?
And it's come right
Yeah,
up.
I've changed all of those when Dick was here last time and he said there isn't such a thing.
Yeah.
So unless someone can give me a better,
Certificate of
Term.
completion,
I've said, what, do you issue anything? Otherwise, I was just saying prior to commencement of operation.
Hmm.
so we were talking about getting a certificate of completion, so we
Okay,
know that the job has been completed.
okay.
But not, it won't be a certificate of occupancy because you're not living there, so
So will you have something like that in place by the time this is?
I'm hoping,
So I said prior
So-
to.
Is
Don't take us wrong, but if you're hoping, I think we need to word this not based off of hope.
right,
So this is just to make sure we have evidence of a decommissioned surety or bond. So should it say prior to issuance of the building permit, that surety or bond should be set in place?
I
Or is that too
I
soon to
think-
require?
Yeah, I think that these 4, 10, 11, 12, and 13, that these are all things that couldn't be submitted that soon.
Mhm.
At least, that was my understanding. Zach can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think,
Zach didn't rejoin,
oh,
unfortunately.
okay. So I think that's why these specifically don't say building permit.
Okay.
Cause a lot of these things, they're not gonna even be able to know until they get the thing going.
Yeah, a site tour and safety training obviously would be after.
Yeah.
But the, so the
So what
town,
about using, cause we have to have inspections along the way, what about using the term final inspection? Cause your final inspection would verify that all, not only has built it correctly, you've also done everything else needed.
That would work, prior to final inspection,
Cause when the building inspector brings his final inspection, you go, okay, the final inspection, did we get the surety or bond? Did we get this, did we get this? So what if we use final inspection as that last marker? Cause that's gonna be the last time a board here does an actual inspection or check before it turns on.
okay.
And that leaves out a hope for a certificate of something. Cause I think it'd be poor on us, but certificate of,
Okay,
what was it called?
completion.
Completion. And if you guys don't have it in effect yet, then
We got over a year to get it. It's just.
you do, but let's just say, you know, you're adding something in there that we don't have that could, you know,
Yeah, it makes sense, just do final inspection of it.
so that's your final point of contact with the boards, with the client. If at that point they don't have the stuff, well then, the inspection isn't complete and you don't, final.
okay, done.
here on my copy, on the bottom of page 5, the procedural history, needed to put a date that we close the public hearing.
Yes, and moved
Did
into
we-
deliberation.
Did we resolve that yet?
I do not have that answer.
Go back to the notes.
Okay, so we need to obtain that from our minutes.
Yeah, I don't know that we actually have it in the minutes either.
There should have been a motion.
Yeah, is
I
it,
can, yeah, we can check.
I don't remember voting.
I think we did,
Well, I know, something happened at some point because
Yeah.
Kyle was saying to Catherine, we're in deliberation now, you can't speak anymore.
Yeah.
I think it was before.
Yeah.
It was said, so something happened.
I mean, we didn't. Obviously, we opened the public hearing on the first, the date.
June 26th.
Oh my gosh, was it really
June 26th.
Yeah.
So I have no,
We're
I don't
missing,
think we had it for more than 2 meetings, but maybe we continued it into our.
so
Oh, this says the second.
Oh, wait, no, here, I'm looking at.
we're missing,
August 7th.
we're missing August 21st, aren't we, in this? There's no mention anywhere of August 21st.
Was there a meeting that was skipped because he was asking, he didn't have,
Yes.
Okay, so
Information
August 21st, we
ready.
should probably put it that there was no discussion. Because that was the one Mike gave his letter.
Yeah, we didn't end up really discussing the solar project, we
On the
used it
21st.
for something else, I believe. If I remember right, we had a meeting in there where we kind of postponed discussing the topic.
Yeah, now been the 21st, because I remember that now
Okay.
because there's people that wanted to come talk about the waivers. They couldn't make it that week, they made the 4th. I believe the 7th is when we technically closed the public input part of the hearing. So we
well,
pulled-
except
we pulled-
September 4th, there was still more discussion.
We had more
with the public,
discussion.
Although you did allow discussion
I did
after it
allow.
was closed.
July 17th.
What?
July 17th.
July 17th,
Mm-hmm.
the hearing was closed?
Mm-hmm. Chairman Smith closed the public hearing at 8:29 p.m.
That's in the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
Right.
There's a lot of public discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did allow people to pass it back.
Yeah, great. Chairman Smith closed. We didn't record a vote. I don't remember there being a vote, but
I don't know if there was
I don't think there certainly weren't objections from the board about. So I can't see that it hopefully doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that the hearing was closed and you entered into deliberation.
Okay, good. Got
Because,
that, but
because the public, at the chair's discretion, can still speak after a hearing has been closed. So, no laws were broken.
Privileges were stretched.
And I just have to go through attachment B and make sure that all these dates are right, that the supplemental, some of that I think made it here, but I'm not sure everything is, so I just need to double check these things, which I can do, later.
So I have a comment on,
So, number 1 on attachment A, shouldn't say application of 3 conditional use permits and site plan
Oh,
review?
wait, I needed to change that, actually, thank you for Kyle for pointing it out, actually, this is when I started to change it to include the water resources, and then we took that away, so now it's just 1 conditional use permit and a site plan review. This is what happens, we go through this so many times.
The 1 conditional use was for the solar.
Yeah, because they filed those jointly from
Yeah.
the very beginning, and they have been together the entire process.
We are getting somewhere. Not sure it's forward, but we're getting somewhere.
so in the findings section, number 7, all we have on the site plan review regulations is the application complies with all the relevant sections of the town shore site plan review. Do we need to drill down into how they meet the
I mean, You could, but it's not a requirement, the law just says that you have to have findings, and sometimes that's all the board has to say is it meets the requirements. I mean, if there is more detail you wanna add, that's fine, but it doesn't really affect the decision, it's really the conditions that are the most important part. And you said number 7, I only have 6.
It's probably because we had the.
Oh, that's right, yes,
had the
the
conditional
numbers
use
changed,
part.
yes. So if there are things that you would like to add here, absolutely, I mean, there's no harm in adding it, but there's also no harm in.
I think that would
No.
bog it down too much. I mean, there's nothing that we have to address in the conditions on that.
Right, because there were no waivers from the site plan, I mean, the big issues had to do with the zoning issues.
Yeah. Any other points anyone has?
No, I mean, a lot of the site plan regs are not applicable. You know, there's no outdoor lighting on the property, there's no sewage disposal, there's no underground fuel tanks. There's no pedestrian access, you know. Screening is one thing.
Stormwater drainage screening.
Yeah, the stormwater drainage, I feel, is kind of satisfied with their plans and permits and the engineered drawings. Screenings,
They supplied that on Bigelow Hill as leaving vegetation up to 15 feet.
yeah,
On Dorch Street West, they added it on the rural line, so they moved the fence up. And there's nothing on Dorch Street East, because it's in the middle of the woods there, so there's nothing they added there for screening. So I feel those have been satisfied.
Yeah, there's also design and development where they talk about site prep, grading, filling, et cetera, which is covered with their alteration of terrain.
right. Right, the DES permit. I guess to the broader thing, I'm fine with it more general, like it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. 'Cause it's.
I was just looking through the conditions on the conditional use permit, and there's one in here, electrical diagram detailing the installation, associated components and disconnects. That may be, we might want to put that in as a condition. I don't think we have that in our plans.
I think they do.
In their submitted plans?
I thought they did. Because they have the disconnects and everything marked out, because they're gonna go over that with the fire and police.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it.
Let me see if I can get their checklist. you can find that in here anywhere.
That would be on the conditional use though, not on the site plan.
Right,
Oh.
but they had,
They already checked this one.
in their narrative where they, spoke to everything, but that's not gonna be in this one, this is the supplemental. Oh, supplemental, yes. This is the initial application. That's not here, I don't have it.
Yeah, I see that they reviewed the site plan regs, the zoning, I don't know that they reviewed the, if they gave a listing of the CUP conditions anyway.
I thought that they did, but that's been so long since I looked at the actual application.
We've got the application, but
And we don't have Zach on the line anymore.
Oh, shoot, I just looked, the waiting room got turned back on, so he's been waiting for a few minutes.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, I'm looking at, after their applications, they go through, the ordinance, they go through,
Hey Zach, this is Henry. Apologies for losing you earlier. We had a computer crash. And full disclosure, the waiting room was turned on. I didn't see you there for the last few minutes.
No problem at all, thank
I
you.
think we've got most of it covered. but
We're
maybe not
still,
yet.
the board's currently reviewing draft conditions
it's G. That's the one that,
that you wanted to ask about.
yes.
Whether it's going to be provided.
Whether it's
Or
been
whether it
provided.
was,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Zach, we have a question about whether an electrical diagram that details the installation, components, and disconnects was provided at any time.
No, there's no electrical sheet or sheets as part of the site use plan set that we have been reviewing as a group. Generally, the electrical sheets come in with the construction set after we've gone through the full design and study work with the utility. So I think there's probably a condition, actually there might not be a condition, but the electrical sheets are part of the final plan set that'll go to the building inspector.
So you'll have that before the building inspector?
It'll be part of the construction plan set that goes to the building inspector with our application for building an electrical permit, yes.
Okay, great. So we can add that into the condition.
Yes.
on number
And that's
one.
what the electrical
That's
inspector
number
will
we
do.
use. Let 'em hear.
Let's see, number 11 prior to, oh, there we are, okay, to, let's see,
And I had penciled it in on mine actually, if you want to take a look.
electrical diagram, make sure I'm on the number changes things, so prior to final inspection, oh, it's prior to issue of the building permit, okay, I'm in a different, there it is, it's my number 9. No, these numbers are all different, okay, I have to make sure, the applicant shall provide the following materials. Update, copy of, okay, here's, okay, 4. Mouse. Okay.
Is there anything else anyone saw? No.
One thing I thought might be good to have in there is, Zach talked in detail about the staging of the construction and what would happen on the road during the staging of construction, moving the vehicles in, taking the logs out, moving the construction vehicles out. And the public had a concern about what the traffic would be on the road, so I think that might be a good piece of information to have in there for the public. If people agree, if we could describe the staging process and what the vehicle traffic would be.
It's gonna be a difficult one to describe, I think. I think you kind of cover the effects, you mitigate the effects it has by giving them hours of operation, and number 6, which is mine, make sure the condition equal or better than the previous condition, that satisfaction of the road agent and our select board. You kind of cover the effects they'll have.
Yeah, this was more, I think, to allay people's concerns about the amount of traffic that's gonna be on the road. I think one thing that impressed me was that Zach was saying they're basically leaving everything on site. So they're not, other than bringing sand in, it's basically construction vehicles coming in to do the construction or building of the array, and the sand coming in. And the only thing that's leaving the site are the logs. You know, they're not taking anything off site. So it's kind of, I think in my mind, it's less traffic on the road than I had originally anticipated, so I thought that description might be helpful.
Is that'd probably be that'd be a finding, that wouldn't be a condition, that'd be a finding.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe that could be a finding.
Yeah,
It would
because
probably fall under
Yeah.
the applicant has informed the board and public that most traffic will be due to mobilization of equipment and minimal removal in addition of materials to the site.
Can you just back up a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'm just trying to burn it out loud and
Okay, provide information to the board and the public that, traffic to and from the site, is that what you said?
yeah, the main amount of traffic for the site would be for mobilization for heavy equipment. Minimal materials brought in and removed. And mainly worker traffic. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, on that, if you heard.
Yep, that sounds fine with me.
So the applicant has provided information to the board and the public that the most significant traffic impacts will be from mobilization, moving equipment to the site.
And removed.
Oh, and moving. Equipment. And the construction is complete. Okay. Okay.
I think that kind of satisfies a finding of the discussion we had without getting.
Does that sound good to you, Jack?
Sounds fine.
Cover traffic, cover noise.
oh, is there an aspect to acknowledging, it might be related to the traffic, but acknowledging that the town has, through the highway department, coordinated on, I don't know what.
You
But I
talking
thought
about
they-
the condition
I thought
of
they
the road and
talked about-
stuff?
Yeah, I thought they
So
talked
numbers,
about-
what's numbers, conditions of approval,
Oh,
number 6 of mine,
Okay.
The applicant shall maintain the existing public rights of way service in the site to a condition equal or better than the pre-existing
Okay,
condition.
okay.
To satisfaction of the road agent and or select board.
Yep.
Prior to commencement of construction, the applicant shall enter into a commercially reasonable agreement with the town of Troy by its road agent to ensure any damage to public right of ways is repaired by the applicant.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking about, and it's already there, yeah.
And we should also be referencing the letter from the town of Troy Highway Department in the document submittals, I believe.
I have an undated letter from John Coons that we got after the site walk.
Well,
Was there
document
something-
submittal says letter from the town of Troy Highway Department, undated but distributed at the planning board meeting of August 7th,
There you go.
prepared by the town of Troy road agent. On that note, we should probably put in that we received the fire and the conservation commissions, and have we received one from police?
We did not.
It's, tie up.
I can email again.
Yes, please, because I technically think we need that before we can, we have to have a letter from police, correct?
It says. Actually, I don't know. Actually, we don't. Wait, got approval from Town of Troy Water Department. Approval of Town of Troy Sewer Department. Approval of Troy Fire Chief.
But there's one emergency services, but we know it. Come on, Paul.
Checklist that I'm looking at does not mention the police.
It may not, I just probably
Yeah,
assumed.
there is a mention of it. You've seen it. I thought it was.
Oh, I'm looking at an old checklist. Written
Looking at the site plan or the CUP?
site plan.
Well, the condition number 9 says, prior to the issuance of the building permit, the applicant shall provide a copy of the DES alteration of terrain, DES dredge and fill, and written statements from road agent, police, and fire chiefs.
So it's in there, okay.
It's a condition already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the new checklist does say written statements from the road agent, police, and fire chiefs regarding the proposal. That's what the current checklist says.
That's what I thought.
Hey Henry, do you have the CUP permit that got passed that way? Did it get passed back or?
I don't think I was given to me.
Yeah, you read about the electrical inspections?
I gave it back to
Okay.
Carol.
did I give it back to you? I thought I did. Thought I
Could be,
did.
could be. Somewhere. Oh, there it is. I found it. Thank you. Now, there's no reference in this at all to the class 5 upgrade. And there was some correspondence going back on that.
I think, isn't it, it's in,
Well,
Or is
it's
it?
waivers
number,
granted, one discusses that specifically.
Is it?
it's number
Well-
6 that speaks to the condition of the road that will be,
Oh, you're talking about how the building is.
Well, there was some documents going back and forth about the class 5 specification. And it was an email from Rewile back and forth with the road agent. But I didn't know if we want to include anything about that in here.
I think we wanna leave that with the selectmen, since that really is their daily work, what's gonna happen to that road. The planning board is not gonna determine what the condition will be.
Well, it is. It
So
was
that's
part of our
covered by the-
deliberation that it would be upgraded to a class 5.
That's the letter from the Troy
Standard.
Highway Department. He sets the standards in that letter. He gave us a recommendation to the planning board on this level of building of that road. That's in his letter. wants to be built up to, what are the standards? So we reference that in 6, and we reference it in document submittals. That letter covers in depth.
I guess what I'm getting at is, Rewild has agreed that they're gonna bring it up to a class 5 standard. And I don't know that that's documented anywhere.
It's in the design spec, the plan set that you're approving has those upgrades added to it. The spec that my engineer and the road agent discussed and described and agreed upon was written into the plan set.
Okay, so maybe we put it as a finding then, that, the road will be upgraded to a class 5.
I mean, the decision references those plans, so everything that's in the plan is what is being approved.
Mhm.
So it really isn't necessary to say it, because it's really redundant.
I know,
but-
but it's an important part there.
But also, the selectmen could change their minds and say, you don't have to make it a class 5, you just have
No, a
to.
class 5 standard,
Class-
not,
yeah.
I don't think there's any debate
Oh, right,
about
yeah, right,
a
the
class
standard.
5 standard. I think that's agreed upon. I think it's such a key part of everyone's concerns about the project is, and actually it was part of the reason I approved the waivers, because I knew it was gonna be
Yeah.
upgraded to a class 5 standard.
But I think, yeah, why Carol's saying it's not necessary is that they can't deviate from what the plan says. So
I agree, but it's
it's underlining it.
it's just tough, for the public, it's tough to find it in the plan versus
Uh-huh.
in an NOD.
Yeah. There's, the notice is leaving out a lot more than that's in there though. I mean, there's,
That's the
if we
issue,
were to
too.
try to address, I guess I'm playing devil's advocate, but we could,
Yeah.
I'm trying to address the key points that
yeah,
the public
that's a
brought
major
up.
one.
And
Okay.
that's one of the major ones in this project, is the class 5 standard.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you're still covered, because applicants shall maintain just home rights of way service in the site to a condition equal or better than the pre-existing condition to satisfaction of the road agent and or select board. You could put,
But right now, it's a class 6, in that section.
yes, but it has to be agreed to by the road agent and or select board, which then comes to what's in the design.
So Zach, where is it in your documents now? It's in one of your supplementals?
No, the plan set itself, so, you guys are
Okay, yeah,
making a decision, and the decision references it'll say something like the revised plan set called Bigelow Hill Solar, dated September 10th, I think it is, 2024 is the last plan set, that's the one you guys are approving.
so it's in,
So
it's in the diagrams, it's in the diagrams, not in the binder.
Yeah, that's right, it's in the actual plan set, the
Yeah.
15-page design.
Yeah.
Right, for the same reason I can't change the fence and put a white vinyl fence, like, there's a fence spec that you guys have approved.
Right,
There's a road spec that you guys have approved, so I can't deviate from those things without coming back to the board.
right. I agree, it's in the plan set, and they have to build to the plan set. What I'm trying to make clear is that road is gonna be upgraded to a class 5 standard. And I don't, I think we can show people on the plan set, I just think there was an awful lot of confusion between the public and the board on what was gonna happen to that road, and I think unambiguously, it's gonna be upgraded to a class 5 standard. And I'm wondering if there's a way to communicate that to the public through this NOD.
So for this project, in the waiver section of the decision, it does go into some detail, and there's some, discussion about the class 5 or better, there's the vote on the waiver,
Right,
perhaps expanding that narrative a little bit. Should be kind of on the third or
Yeah,
fourth page
yeah,
of
I
the
see what you're
decision,
saying.
if I recall.
I mean, on number one, where it says the applicant respectfully requested a waiver, et cetera, revision of requiring every solar energy system to have only one entry point.
Yes, you could add a sentence after right of way, just simply, I think what you're looking for, describing what's being done.
Yeah, so the something to the effect that the Rewild has modified the plan set to upgrade the class 6 section of Bigelow Hill to a class 5 standard.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't describe it, you'd say to the standard required by the road agent, or, some other way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a describing sentence after, as we just identified, could be helpful to not only point the public who read this decision in the future to a specific section of the plan set, but also provide some context. I think may accomplish what you're looking for.
So how about if a different location at the, following the last sentence of that second paragraph, salient to the board's decision was the guarantee by the applicant that the applicable road section will be upgraded to,
Standards listed by the road agent.
I had said, class 5 standard, but Zach said something different.
So why is it concern about class 5 standard, Zach?
Just because it's confusing, I think we've been tripping around this, the semantics of it. I think there's the engineering standard, which has to do with what's actually built on the ground. And then there's the class 5 or class 6, which is simply going to be based on the decisions made by the select board. So in my opinion, it just makes more sense to refer to what's actually being built, because you guys are approving what's being built, and that's the engineering standard requested by the road agent.
And how did you note it on the plan set that, is there language on the plan set or?
Let me open it up right now.
Yeah, because class 5 standards are, there's not like one standard.
right,
Yeah, it's
right.
variable depending on whether it's paved or unpaved or the volume.
Class
of the
5
road.
and class 6 just change whether or not it's town maintained or not. So I think by putting in class 5 makes people think we are not necessarily maintaining it, because that's what class 5 is.
Yeah.
It's not the standard of built road, it's the responsibility of the road. That referencing the agreed to building.
I'm trying to open the plan, but I probably shouldn't.
Did you know computers can catch fire?
I think we can put a laptop in the budget, they're fairly affordable now, might be just a suggestion.
Yeah, $200, you're all set.
We need a screen in this room. We need like a big screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just have a simple laptop with a projector screen in
Yeah, or just a big flat screen.
I was gonna say, you can buy you can get just a standard television set now and Bluetooth right to it, so.
Does that open up what's in there?
It's a
That's a
whiteboard.
whiteboard.
Whiteboard can be used as a screen. It would make it easier too if we have to share stuff, like
Right.
document wise.
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's get off topic. Just
Creating site layout.
this and that.
Site overview.
It should be on sheet C301, which is the construction details. I just don't have the plan set in front of me.
All right, what's the sheet number again, please?
301.
Should be 301 is usually where the construction details go.
Okay.
I've got it, but it's so slow. I'll return the page. There it goes.
There's also, I think, Bigelow had a C202, an extra sheet specifically focused on the access road.
Two shows the access road plan and profile. Sheet 2 of 2. C201 is access road plan and profile, sheet 1 of 2. But it looks like it's the internal road.
Or maybe keep rolling up, maybe it's 200. I'm just
Yeah,
kind of guessing here.
No, yeah, you got it. It's C200, Bigelow Hill Road plan and profile. This plan shows where the end of the maintained road begins, or where the transition occurs.
Yeah, so that should say something like 16-foot wide gravel road.
It says upgrade existing Bigelow Hill Road, 16-foot wide gravel road, and it references C301. So, and let's see, it talks about the stream crossing as well as a 3-foot by 4-foot
So maybe we just reference
concrete
the,
box. Yeah.
maybe we just reference the plan sets on the notice.
We can also bracket it also, and I can take a look when I get back in front of my computer before the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Anything else in this one? I feel we've attacked it pretty well.
So, what I said at the end of the waiver discussion, I said central to the board's decision was the guarantee by the applicant that the applicable road section will be upgraded to the engineering standards requested by the road agent. And then I can say, as shown in, once I have that, as shown on plans titled, et cetera, fill in the blank.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so I fill that in later. Okay,
I just pasted into the chat the 4 bullets that we got via email from John, who's the road agent, and that was the email someone referred to where my engineer and John were going back and forth. So you could add those 4 bullets, or we just find where in the plan said those 4 bullets made it 16-foot wide gravel travel surface, 15-inch thick roadway section constructed to NH Department of Transportation 304.3 crushed gravel, shoulders will not be included to minimize impact within the right-of-way, and site clearing and roadside ditching will be contained to the existing right-of-way to the greatest extent possible. So those are the bullets from Mr. Coons.
Thank you for that.
Great.
Henry, any way you can cut and paste those bullets and mail them out? That'd be great.
Sure.
Anything else on this notice of decision? I think with these changes, we should be pretty well set. Have you done the Dorr Street notice of decisions yet, drafts?
I have drafts of Dorr Street East and West.
For the most part, the waivers are gonna be specific. The lot, duration for the custom will be the same. Conditions of approval. The decommissioning plan will obviously change to match each size and cost. The verbiage for issues of building permit and to final inspection of certificate of occupancy. Are there other things I would change on the Dorr Street ones we can think of?
Oh, I'm sorry, Carl, you do have to vote separately on this notice on the Bigelow Hill.
Okay.
So each one of these will need a separate vote. And you already voted on the waiver back in August, so now you're just voting on the overall approval of both the conditional use and the site plan.
Do we need the final draft to do that, or can we do that on this based off of the notes we made?
Well, it's 6 pages, I don't know if you, I mean, it's what you already have seen, it's just with the changes.
With the
that
verbal
we made.
changes, so we can make
Yeah.
a
Do we want a
motion.
motion on that, the NOD, or just a motion like we did on the other CUP, which is a higher level motion? Or do we do a motion on the NOD?
Yeah, well, your decision to approve, or whatever your decision is what is reflected in this. So you're voting on the application, and that's reflected by this notice of decision.
Right, I guess my question is, last week we voted on to approve a CUP, and we didn't have terms of the CUP,
Right.
the NOD on the CUP,
Right.
but we still had a motion there.
Yes,
And then Kyle signed the NOD for the COP after.
yeah,
So my question is, can we just make a general motion without referencing the NOD?
oh absolutely.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, we've done this one backwards, only because we already had the draft to start with,
right.
which actually made it a lot easier, because otherwise, you would have started deliberation and had this whole 10-day discussion of all of these points, and then taken your vote.
So does it seem like we could just have a general motion without having a finalized NOD?
Oh, yeah, oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
guess that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
say. Just wanna make sure we didn't have to have it finalized.
Yeah,
But we do have to say there's conditions in our
well, in
motion.
your motion, yes.
We're approving
yeah.
it with conditions
Subject to.
described
Yeah,
according to this. So we are technically referencing conditions we haven't seen the final draft of,
yeah.
if we wanted to have a conditional approval.
Or do we somehow reference them at a high level as to what they
Yeah.
are?
Yeah, we would say like,
There are 14 of them, so you probably don't want to have all of that in your motion, but you can certainly reference this as a draft decision that incorporates the conditions, and then the notice just simply, formalizes it.
Or can we wait until the notice is done and just reference the notice in the NOD, in the motion?
You could do that. I mean, the notice itself is done. The only thing I have to do is confirm the procedural history and the document submittals. I mean, but those are attachments. They're not part of the notice. So for all intents and purposes, the notice is done. I've made all of the other corrections and changes.
We do have until our next meeting is our expiration of our extension, right?
Yes,
Technically
for all three.
Yes.
So I think we've got one here that's in front of us done.
I'm comfortable, moving with the written conditions here with the amendments that we've discussed and have been
Is that your motion?
captured.
Is that your motion?
Yeah, I mean, I'll move that the planning board conditionally approve both the conditional use permit and site plan for the Bigelow Hill Road Solar Project, according to those 14 conditions that we've reviewed and have been amended in tonight's meeting.
14 conditions.
I'll second.
Any discussion? You heard us, Mike? Is he still here?
Yep, I'm here, I heard you.
Okay.
I was gonna say, he's in the waiting room.
He's in the waiting
I'm
room.
gonna turn that off.
Any discussion on the motion put forward by Henry?
No, I got it.
So all those in favor of approving the conditional use permit and site plan for Bigelow Hill with the 14 conditions, as the motion put forward by Henry, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstains? Nays? Alright. So. passes. One down, two to go.
Okay, now I just wanna get this recorded. 500. Okay, save and get this one out of my site. So, Dork Street East, I want to be sure I've got the waiver. In the draft I have, there's a waiver request for the lot size coverage. Is that correct, Zach?
Which Dorr Street?
Dork Street
East.
East, yeah.
Dorr Street East, the only waiver is for the lot coverage percentage.
So that was, let's see, asking for more than 35%, is that correct? That was
Correct.
the waiver? Okay, then I have the proper draft. Okay, so this, and I have one more question. I'll have to make some of the similar changes to the findings, but I had a question about the decommissioning cost. Is that the same as for Bigelow Hill, or did you have a different cost?
The amount on file is the decommissioning plan dated April 15, 2024, in the amount of $159,850, 159,850.
159,850, and the date was April what?
15, 15.
April 15, thank you, okay, so 159,850. Excellent, because that was different. In my draft, I had the same as Bigelow Hill. Okay.
This is higher.
So now I just need to do some of the same changes. Oh, that's the last one I do, Bigelow Hill. Opposed to so let's see. Dorset Street East is 11.5. Okay. Findings are the same. Who's going to use more? Oh, and also, this draft has a vote for the waiver, but you did not vote on this waiver, did you? Did you only vote on Bigelow Hill, or did you vote on this one as well? I think you
We
did.
voted
Vote
on all of them,
Okay,
yeah.
so this is correct, okay, so that's correct.
All waivers submitted had votes, except for the one they retracted, which was for the fence line on Bigelow Hill.
Perfect, okay, and we've got a revision date of September 10. So, everything here is really the same, you know, the findings, the conditions, I'm just going through and changing the things that we changed before, changing the hours of operation.
The only thing that's different is the waiver, so it might be good to read your block on the waiver, that
Yeah.
might be good to hear.
So the waiver says, requesting a waiver from Article 12, F3D, requiring every solar energy system to not cover more than 35% of the lot for a lot size 10 acres or more. At the properly noticed and advertised public hearing held on August 7th, 2024, the planning board reviewed the above noted waiver request and found that, based on information presented by the applicant in its memorandum in support of waiver request and other information received at the public hearings, conformity would pose an unnecessary hardship to the applicant, and such waiver would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the regulations. The planning board voted 5-1-0 after being properly moved and seconded to approve the waiver request made by the applicant. Okay, 7 a.m. No Saturdays. And not on. Holidays, police chief. Bonding is corrected. Third party approved by the select board. Two, work, inspections. So now we have to add the, what did we say, prior to final inspection, so I just have to change that language. Prior to final inspection.
Zach, while we're waiting, a question came up earlier in the meeting around Dorch Street West. You still need a waiver on that. I know you changed, you're further away from the fence you were, but you still need a waiver on that, right?
Yes, the original waiver was asking for us to be 5 feet off, and now I think we're like 38 feet off or something like that, after accounting for the road and the 20-foot setback from a.
Rural. That laptop may just be done for.
With setback requirements of the solar ordinance, we still need the waiver.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Dordt Street East is a mirror image of Bigelow with the exception of the waiver and the bond decommissioning plan date and bond amount.
It's the same date, it's April 15th.
Oh, Bigelow Hill, I have a different date.
Oh, I thought,
I have 7/22/24.
That was
Bigelow
changed,
Hill.
it changed then because he had to change the fence size to not get the waiver for lot coverage. So that changed their decommissioning cost.
Well, I'm gonna be earlier, I have 7/22.
What
Dordt
do you
Street
have?
East is April.
It would be early because it was part of the original.
Right.
It never changed from the original.
Oh, so four.
Bigelow Hill, they changed it back in July because they moved the fence to not require a waiver for lot coverage. So that changed the square footage. And I believe there was a, difference in lot coverage in their submitted pamphlet versus the decommissioning plan. So all those 3 changes are probably dated 7/22 to correct them and match them.
Okay, so I have Dordt Street East amended to reflect those changes that were made to those that were relevant, findings and the conditions. And the procedural history. So, Dordt Street East says essentially the same thing. The only difference being the waiver and the bond and the road issues. So that obviously is not part of Dordt Street East or West.
Mhm.
So there is no mention of that.
So how many conditions does that put for Dordt Street East?
Dordt Street East, it's, I think, let me just get that.
Should be the same,
Here.
should be the same.
It's the same 14 conditions.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure there's nothing. Oh, Gilbert Road, there's nothing in here. Actually, number 4 would still be applicable because it talks about the truck activity before or after, so that works. Number 6, that number 6 really speaks to the to the Bigelow Hill Road. So,
Well, it also spoke to the condition of the road on Dordt Street.
so
yeah.
you're okay.
We wanna keep
with
that
leaving
because
that
in
in,
case there's
okay.
damage to
Yeah.
Dordt Street, we'll
Okay.
fix it.
Right, okay.
It's already fragile as is.
That's another thing.
Okay, and Dordt Street West, need to do the same thing too, so that waiver
In the interim, do we
was-
wanna vote on, Dordt Street East? Or motion?
Yes, let's get it knocked out. Is that your motion?
Sure, I move to conditionally approve the conditional use permit and site plan for Dorch Street East Road Solar Project according to the 14 conditions reviewed and amended in tonight's meeting.
Second?
So, move was Jack. Second was Henry. Any discussion on this? Any thoughts, Mike? Just to make sure you,
Nope, I'm here, no.
okay. Just wanna make sure.
Fell asleep.
Fell asleep. So no discussion. All those in favor of the motion put forward by Jack?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Abstentions? Dorch Street East, so passes as put forth as a motion. Nice to get this done.
Dorch Street West.
And west is in 1 minute, I will have the same revisions to say this one. Waivers, waiver, that's, okay, I don't have the correct, I don't have the correct waiver here for Dorch Street West. Let me find that one.
Hold on, Michelle.
Dorch Street West, the waiver was for. What am I at, 1971. Dorch Street West. Dorch Street East. Hang on, Dorch Street West, okay.
Are you having, Jenny, did you get a trailer?
Waiver,
Yeah, you're supposed to. I got called to that.
okay.
And then, in fact, I didn't.
So the
If not, I
waiver
got someone
is
doing that.
for,
Setback.
is for the setback,
You have something from the contact, has somebody.
Yeah.
is a waiver from article. Okay. Statement from article.
That's 25,000.
So,
Okay, this is gonna mess up my formatting, but, I'll just read the waiver and I'll have to clean this up later. Okay, so the waiver is from Article 12, F4D, requiring every security barrier to be set back a minimum of 100 feet from all property lines and all equipment to be set back a minimum of 10 feet within the security barrier. The security fence along the northwestern property line will be set back 5 feet from that property line. The balance of the security fence will comply with the 100-foot minimum setback. If the waiver is granted for the fence at this location, then the equipment will be set back greater than the required minimum of 10 feet from the fence and will be approximately 50 feet from the northwestern property line. This request is being made to locate the security fence to minimize impacts to natural resources on site, including wetlands and streams.
Isn't it though, it's no longer 5 feet, right? Doesn't the reference to 5 feet change to the 30 some odd feet that it was, the site plan was amended to?
Okay, well, this was,
Because the original plan was 5 feet and he needed
okay.
a waiver, but the road was swapped with the fence,
So
right?
this apparently
So
is
do we need,
an older one,
I
so
don't know that it was ever revised, do we need to reconsider it, or can we
the
just?
discussion was we don't have to reconsider it because
It still needs a waiver.
it still is a waiver, so the waiver covers it, it's still within that. I think we just have to
So
maybe
take-
reference,
take away
The new
that
plan
reference to
design?
the, okay, we said security fence.
I think the waiver's fine, and then we could reference the, like Kyle said, we could reference the plan set.
Yep,
With-
as shown, setback, the security fence setback as shown on plans entitled, and then I have a date
Yeah, I think Zach said it might go like 38
for
feet.
those new plans. Yeah. why did- Okay, so. Okay. RPD
And
requiring every
And the-
security.
the reason that happened was because the crematorium is in a rural district. So should we reference why or anything, or just that it happened?
Why the waiver was granted?
No, why the plan set is different than what the waiver was granted at? Or just leave it be?
I'd leave it, I think I'd leave it be. It's not getting, the plan doesn't make it worse than what the waiver was granted for. It's an improvement.
Yeah, the waiver, the way that Zach had described it was the waiver wasn't for a specific setback in a specific zone, and it kind of, it's covered regardless, but.
Yeah.
So,
Just putting it that way shows they had a waiver, we granted it. Here's where the fence line is.
okay, so that would be the only change to this one. I'm making all of the other revisions, the hours of operation,
Decommissioned bond.
oh, right, I need probably new numbers for that.
I don't think that was amended though, right? So isn't it only the Bigelow, I think only Bigelow Hill had an update to the decommission.
Only people had it, but we need to make sure I have the right numbers on
Yeah.
each of the.
Yeah, because I had the same number from Bigelow Hill for both of Dort Street, and I know that's not correct.
So,
we need Dorch Street,
yeah,
Dort Street.
do we use
West.
the total,
Dorch Street West.
we use the bond?
Yeah, I've got it here for you guys for Dort Street West when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, the number, the cost
Mm-hmm.
is 57,801, so 57801.
Okay,
And the date is 8/27/24. And this one was revised after we modified the design to, remember there was a change in mid-August where we took care of the crematorium being zone rural, the new setbacks, the new fence lines, and we also reduced some of our wetland impact, so it's about the same number, but that's the,
I'm sorry,
August.
that, can you give me the number again? My number lock was off. 57.
57801.
801, thank you, and 8/27/24 was the date?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, let's see, prior to final
You
inspection.
wanna do it, Curtis?
Figure keep you guys rolling.
There you go.
So Dort Street, I'll make a motion to update the, or to conditionally approve the CUP and site plan for Dort Street East Solar Project according to the 14 conditional,
Wood Street West.
West, sorry. I didn't
oh
change
yeah,
it.
Dort Street West. Conditional reviewed and read in tonight's meeting.
A second?
Any discussion?
No.
Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion as put forward by Curtis?
Aye.
Abstentions? Nays? Alright, so it passes.
All right, so I just need to go through all of these and make sure I have all the documents and the procedure captured properly. And I'll email them to Abby, and then you can come in and sign them.
Perfect.
Excellent.
So,
Thank you all very much, I really appreciate it, guys, I know this was a lot, I'm doing it first, but I appreciate it.
well, thank you for being, very helpful through the whole process.
Yes, absolutely.
And patient being a big key.
Alright, well, have a great night. Just so you guys know, from my next steps, I'll work in the background a little bit with Carol as she needs me to finalize these things, but I'll likely be reaching out to the Board of Selectmen to start discussing pilot and just, now kind of taking the project in front of them. But I really appreciate everything you guys have. You guys have my contact info, and obviously we got a lot of conditions here, so there'll be plenty of feedback, but we'll give you guys a break for a couple months while I focus on the Board of Selectmen and PSNH finalizing our interconnection work.
All right, thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Zach.
Zach.
So,
All right, oh, yay.
do we have to do these tonight?
I don't think so. I would,
Because we could save those, board is mind saving those till the second, you could.
Are those both the same?
I think
Yes,
so.
Okay, well, I'll take one set with me and just do a
I
complete
believe they're both the
review.
same.
The soonest that they can get to the board anyway is the 16th.
No, they're separate, I think.
Two different ones.
Oh, that took one, just two
Okay,
different checks.
different one, okay, well,
Two
I'll
sets of
take that.
plans for planning board and 2 checks. So
So,
one's for Jordan Beal and one for Jack Beal.
so I guess,
So it's
I
tax
can
map
send you
24.
stuff though. I'll like scan the applications and send them to you, Carolyn.
so does the board want to visit those
Oh,
the
okay,
second?
great, that would make life
I
easier.
think we should
Yeah.
have a brief discussion, because we owe the Sorrel subdivision, I think.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if we just save these for a second and discuss Sorrells tonight.
Well, we have to, you mean discuss the timing of the public hearing?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think tonight we should at least, find out when we're comfortable doing the Sorrel public hearing. I think it's the 16th is our normal,
That's the soonest that they could get before the board. Just,
so.
because of the timing. And I did a completeness review, and he's got everything on there, it's just he had a couple of mistakes so I emailed him, and he corrected those, and he said he was gonna drop them off tomorrow.
Yeah.
But the soonest, the deadline for getting on the 2nd is already passed, so I told him the 16th would be the soonest that he could get here.
is the board good with the 16th?
Yeah, I think, I'll double check mine.
Just cancel whatever you had in the schedule.
October? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm available. I just got in the military 17, 18, 19, and 20. So it's affecting the selectmen's meeting, not this one.
Right.
And the next selectmen's meeting is actually on Monday, October 7th. So the planning board is actually meeting before the next selectmen's meeting, just an FYI, which is good.
So I missed that, so that's a public hearing for the Sorrel subdivision on October 16th?
So the board's not meeting on the second, the first Wednesday?
I'm assuming that will happen, it will be posted as a submittal, and then
This board,
vote
planning
to
board?
accept, and then go
Planning
to
board
the public
is, yeah.
hearing. But it's a real simple application.
Yeah, we're
Second,
gonna
October
back
2nd, yes. Selectmen, 2 of us are not gonna be in town
Yeah.
for that first week, so we pushed it off to the 7th.
7, okay,
Monday.
that's what that is, that's just it, man.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad I brought this.
So next planning board meeting is the
Done this
2nd.
handwriting.
Looks like you guys are done with Green Route. So I will leave these for that meeting,
What are those, Kyle?
subdivisions for Tolman Road.
Does it say how many lots on there? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
So I guess my discussion, my question is,
Map 24, lot
So
81.
the second, do you guys need me?
Map 24, what?
Because it's my birthday, I'd like to take it off with the wife, but
181?
Yeah,
if you
no,
guys feel you need me,
I won't be here on the 2nd, I'll be out of state,
24,
so, might be the possibility of not having a quorum at that point.
okay. So maybe what I'll do is I'll check in Monday with everyone.
Well, you could give yourselves a night off, because you don't have any hearings on that night, since nothing can get scheduled by then,
yeah,
so.
Yeah, and we don't have a time frame yet for these, that we have a deadline because we haven't set a hearing.
But assuming, I'll look at them tomorrow, and assuming that they've done everything, the notice doesn't have to go to the paper until the 5th of October.
Okay.
So Evie has plenty of time to process that.
So I guess
one.
we'll wait for you to say if these are good,
Yep,
okay? And we won't have Mike for the second, I'd like to not be here.
bless
Bless
you.
you.
Well, we just plan for the 16th then, and everyone enjoy some time off. Because we did obviously do one early this week.
Yeah.
So no meeting on the second.
No meeting on the second.
So next meeting will be October
I'm sure I
And
can
is-
find someplace else to be.
Carol, are you gonna work kind of independently with Elizabeth to decide if we're noticing for like 2 hearings
Yeah.
potentially?
Yeah.
So,
Three.
Yeah, I've already done
That's-
the notice for Sorrel,
okay.
so I just have to now have a look at these.
But it could be like
Yeah.
Sorrel's at 7 and the other one's at whatever, 7:30 or something.
Yeah, I don't like to put the time, just because, so
Oh,
I say, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
at the
great.
meeting starting at 7 o'clock, so you're not bound by anything.
So you want both of these then?
Well, Abby's gonna
I'll
email,
email
email it
I'll
to me
email
tomorrow.
her.
and then I.
You have electronic copies of those?
I can scan them. I don't know
Oh,
if
I
I
see.
have electronic
I see.
copies of the plan, but I can see if they submitted anything.
Well, I could take one with me, so I'd at least have that.
Yeah.
What's the thickest one?
Right?
You don't wanna go home and pour
I mean,
yourself a nice big glass
no,
of wine tonight, too.
I am. I'm very excited.
Anything?
My calendar lately has been a little over the top, so this is exciting. Sorry.
I don't think I have anything else for anyone. Is there anything for Selectmen's update?
Yeah, I was wrong about the community breakfast this on October 5th. We are not doing the October 5th breakfast because the rec will be at 2 locations, at the Fall Festival on the Common and over at the Depot cooking. So there'll be probably breakfast sandwiches that will be available for purchase.
Okay,
Other than that,
definitely
roller skating
do
is
that.
October 4th, that Friday before, and it's gonna be a 1 session, not 2 session. I will be out of town beginning of that week as well. Actually, my October I'll be out of town for quite a bit actually, so. Between military and a couple other things, yeah. Other than that, selectmen's meeting is meeting, the 7th at 5 o'clock, because 2 selectmen will be out of town the first week, so just so everyone's on the same page.
What date was that? I'm sorry.
Selectmen, 7th October. And the community dinner is on the 19th. And that's a pork loin dinner, is what I'm seeing on Facebook that the rec posted, so that's a $5 to go meal.
Anything else for anyone?
And that's it.
We'll call the meeting done at 9:05. Woo-hoo.
Yay. I'm looking forward to seeing the training.
Yeah.
And the dog. He's so cute.